Good night, people. Good night, good night, good night. Welcome once again. Welcome to the Sports Frenzy podcast. Promising me, I know that it's your host, Levon, and tonight we're here to talk about some football. A lot of things happening in football, man, and really look at it. Some that people don't really want to talk about because of the stories that surrounding them, but you know that we have to discuss whatever topic it is, and we just have to go into it and dive right into it. So we knew what happened to one Sergio Aguero. You know that he was playing a match for Barcelona and then he went down and boy, after that heard all sort of things that he had to retire from football for health reasons, and it's so sad for a player because as he himself pointed out that he had dreams of playing for Barcelona. That's what he said. I figure more or less it was because Messi, who is his best bud, was over there, so he wanted to join up with Messi over there. But sad part for him is that immediately as he went over there, boom, Messi leave Barcelona, went over to PSG. But separate and apart, you know that we don't wish bad things for players, and sometimes we're sorry for things like these to happen to the people. But boy, look at the guy, man. This guy was one of the best strikers that ever graced the Premier League, and as I said, it's just so sad to see him go down like that because I really wanted to see him flourish in La Liga. He did before, but I really wanted to see more of him in that Barcelona team. Even though we know that Barcelona is down at the moment and all of that, it would have been good to see what he had to offer. But boy, sadly for him, that won't happen. And for people who actually don't know the magnitude of this player, man, this man, as I said, is arguably one of the greatest strikers the Premier League has ever seen. And I'm just going to go ahead and read his statistics. And before I do that, good night, Michelle. Big up yourself, Fresh God. It's the Fresh God in the comment section saying that Saturday, all the best, my idol. That's it, Lataya. Good night, Lataya. And yes, Michelle saying that sad to see him leave football. Yeah, we all are. But just going to go ahead and talk about the guy for a minute. So you look at his Premier League stats. This man played 275 Premier League games for Man City, scored 184 goals and 55 assists to go along with it. I know that he has some titles to accompany with it, none more so than that title in 2011 2012 when they beat United out by a goal difference. So yeah, that's the magnitude of the guy. In La Liga, he played like 179 games. He has 75 goals and 29 assists. Champions League, he played 79 games and he had like 41 goals and 9 assists. FA Cup, he had played 22 games. He has 20 goals, 5 assists. EFL Cup, he played 22, 11 goals, 3 assists. And then you look down further and he played in the Europa League and all that. Overall, throughout his career, he played 663 games, had 379 goals, 118 assists. And, well, as I said, it's so sad to see what actually transpired with him because this is someone that we really had a lot of time for. But well, look at him. His career was one that was blessed. The only thing that is missing for him is a Champions League, and he really needed a Champions League title. He said that he wouldn't have left Man City until they won the Champions League. They got the opportunity to do so to the back end of last season, and they were unable to claim the title. But that would be the only downturn in his career, if you ask me. And I wouldn't really consider it really a downturn, right? Because a one man can't win a title. We know that. But based on what he had set out to achieve with City, he already achieved some Premier League and all of that. So he never needed any more Premier League titles. The Champions League was what was missing. And I don't know if that's the reason why he went over to Barcelona, or part of the reason, because we know that Pep never wanted him anymore, even though he was there and today to say that man basically sign off from football. And people keep on asking the question, will we see him in any sort of role for Man City come further down the line, because you know that some of these players can go into administration, become coaches, and things like that. So we don't know if we'll actually see him in any of that capacity. But all the best, Sergio Aguero. I hope that everything will be good with you. And on another note, another player that something similar happened to is one Christian Eriksen. We know that he went down in the Euros, and since then, you know that over in Syria they don't allow players to play with defibrillator. Um, former United player Daley Blind, who is now at Ajax. Something similar transpired with him, but because of their league, they allow him to play with it. So he's still playing football. Christian Eriksen does have an interest in continuing playing football, but Inter Milan said no because of league stipulations. We can't allow to play football, and it's so sad to see what has happened to a lot of these guys. And it leads to think that, hey, one, do they suffer? Do they have some health issues that's uncovered, or see people spreading rumors that is because of the vaccine and all of that. So I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't really want to get into that because I choose to stay away from this vaccine argument and all of that, right? But I don't know what you all think. You in the comment section can tell us what you think. And here's Shem Jacko and also say Robbie in the comment section. Shem Jacko is saying Oku see him in another capacity. Here's Jeff saying that another thing that is missing from his repertoire is a World Cup. Yeah, you could say that, yes, but you know that he wasn't really the focal point of Argentina attack right throughout. We know that for a fact, right? And here's also Jana is saying that Eriksen risking life. He need to retire and start his coaching career. I wouldn't really necessarily say he's risking it. Why? As I just pointed out, Dale Blaine suffered something similar, and he himself is still playing and still playing at the highest level. He's playing for Ajax and he's going well. So, boy, tricky situation. Here's Michelle asking, did he get COVID at any point in time? I'm not so sure. I'd have to check it. But producer, you could check if Aguero had contracted COVID, and then I'll tell you guys. But so sad to see what has happened to a lot of these people, and we just hope for the best for the footballers because we look at even England right now, and we see a lot of clubs suffering right now because of players going down because they caught COVID and whatever. They said they contracted it
in June.
So yes, he actually contracted COVID in June. So Michelle, that answers your question. He did. But as I was saying, a lot of players at Premier League clubs are now contracting it as well, and it leads to think that were these Premier League clubs too laid back in their approach, knowing that it's now the winter, and they said that COVID tend to multiply during the colder seasons and all of that. So would you guys say that the Premier League teams were too laid back and allowed the players too much freedom to do whatever they wanted to do? And now they have to suffer the consequences without these players, and they have to either play depleted squads or they have to have their games postponed and all that. So what do you guys think about that? And here's Wayne Green saying that the man career cut short, sad deal. There are also Michelle once again saying that well maybe it affected his lungs. Some people have long-term effects. And even Yashua Kimi came out and said that had he known the effects of what contracting COVID without taking the vaccine was like, he would have took the shot long time ago. But people are saying that some of these things are programmed and they're trying to use the footballers to let people take it. But as I said, I'm not going to go down that line. Yes, Adrian Nicholson also saying that great for Man City. I do agree. It was great for them, man. And overall for the EPL as well. But um it's just a tricky situation because what if it's a case where these Premier League clubs decided they're going to keep all the players in house in terms of stop them from going to parties and all of that, yet they still have family members who are going out and about and still risk the process, they are at a greater risk of catching COVID and all of that. So, from one standpoint, I might look at it and say, hey, Premier League clubs could have done this, they could have done that. But looking at it from another angle, it's kind of tricky. I really don't know what they should do in this moment. Yes, they can let them cut back on certain things because we're still seeing some of the Premier League players going out and about. So they could possibly tell them, say, here what? You see the time that we are going through, ease off for the partying and all that, because a lot of these players are doing that. So let us see how this goes because as I said, it's affecting a lot of these teams. And I'm now going to look forward to the EPL games that took place earlier on today. First up, we saw Wolves taking on Brighton at the Amex Stadium. Brighton once again suffered a defeat. They have gone 11 games now without any victory under their belt, and people start to question Graham Potter, saying that is he overrated? Has he taken this team so far enough that he can't take them anymore? Or is it a case where because of lack of transfer activity, it's now affecting them? Now we look at them, and the player that we saw last season in Yiz Bissouma is a total different player this season. Yes, he has been here and there and all of that, but in terms of the consistency and the monstrous player that we saw, he's no longer that player. I remember he came out and said that he's probably the best player in the Premier League, and from he made a statement, it has just gone downhill for him. Will he improve? That's a hard question to answer. But we keep on saying on this program that the main issue for Brian is that they create a lot of chances, but there's nobody on hand to finish these chances. Neil Maupay is just not it at the top level. Leandro Trossard is just not a number 9. This man plays as a winger or even as an attacking mid. Today they decided that they're going to go with Aaron Connolly. Again, he wasn't good enough either for them. So it just seems like they're struggling with a striker issue. And I mean, January can't come fast enough for these clubs. In midfield, it seems all right, but when I look at their defense now, ever since Lewis Dunk gone down, the two that has played central defense are just not it either. You have Joel Veltman, who perennially played as a right back at Ajax until he was let go. Then you also have Dan Burn, who, boy, that man was just an okay player down in Championship, and things then he don't look like he belong in the Premier League. He don't look like a Premier League player. So they're struggling all over, and it seems like Graham Potter is bereft of ideas right now because he has tried different system, different players, and it hasn't worked out. And the more they keep on getting the bad results, the more the fans will start calling for him to be out. On the other hand, now, when look at Wolves. Wolves a team that they were missing their most influential striker in Raul Jimenez. He hasn't looked the same player since he has returned from injury, but Wolves is a team that they hardly concede goals, and their issue was also scoring. Not today they were able to score one, and they held on with a clean sheet as well. One came off early, and then I believe it was Adam Traore came on. He played decent today. Woden's got a star Trincao also, but Wolves another team that if you look at them, they're like a yo-yo team. This week they play good. Next week is a total different team. And Bruno Lage he has a lot of problems on his hand in regards to injuries, inconsistency from players. Even Ruben Neves, who was linked to Manchester United, has fallen off. And it seems like it's not just coaches or certain players that this has reached. It seems like when a player has been linked to a next club and like the move tend not to go through, it's like the wallet space just gone right off. So they have been up and down. They're hoping to find consistency. And I mean, it's still early days in the Premier League that they could still find themselves within a top 6 position if they really play some football, because a lot of these positions are still up for grabs, A lot of these positions are up for grabs. So we just have to sit back and watch some football and see how it goes from there. I'm going to look at the next game that took place earlier. And today, I saw a goal thriller between Crystal Palace and Southampton. And I was here last night. I was telling Kims that, boss man, hear what? You see, if you're going to pick a game for 2.5 goals, this was the game for it. Tell me about Burnley and Watford. And by the way, that game was postponed for whatever reasons. But Crystal Palace jumped out the blocks early, scored an early goal through Wilfred Zaha, who is another big flop. This minute, this man performed good, and I hear people start calling him, say, oh, this man need to go to a big club and all of that. But Wilfred Zaha has proven that he belongs at a mid-table club. And I believe it was Arsenal who wanted him, and it seems like they probably made the right decision not going for him, right? Yes, they did end up buying Nicolas Pepe, and he's just an average player as well. But Wilfred Zaha is just an okay player, and on his day, he can be good, but majority of times he's consistently inconsistent, and that's the issue that we have with players like these. They might play a patch of 10 games or 15 games, and they're good, And for the next 10 to 15, they were like, damn, was this the same player we were raving about the other day? But yeah, that's the sort of player you get with Wilfred Zaha. Now, after that, Southampton decided that, hey, now it goes to the final to farm. James Ward-Prowse will call out on the show that he needs to step up. This man is captain of the team, and it seems like if it's not dead ball, he's no good, right? So he did step up a bit, and he scored a goal. And then the Chelsea boy, Amanda Broja, a lot of Chelsea fans really calling back for him, saying that they want him ahead of Timo Werner in their team because he seems like he's built for the Premier League. And so far, he has taken to life in the Premier League at Southampton till they have gone to an extent that they have benched Adam Armstrong, would have paid a decent chunk of money for. They bench him. Che Adams also has to be rubbing the bench. So Armando Broja has been the one that has been leading the line. And yeah, as I said, and here's that I was saying that Ward-Prowse's free kick was spectacular. That's what he's good at. Dead ball situations, you get the best of Ward-Prowse. Otherwise, some that is like next to being non-existent. Last season, he was decent, and since then, it seems like his game has fallen off. And it's just one of those things with these players. They can't remain consistent, and they expect that, hey, people will actually rave about them to go to bigger clubs. Because a lot of people were pressed for him to go to Aston Villa, but the inconsistency is a big, big, big issue. But as I was saying, Armando Broja, this is a youth that is tailor made for Premier League if you really look at it, right? Strong, physical, and he's also quick. So he's built for it, and I can see why some Chelsea fans are raving about him. But on the other hand, I can also see why some don't really want him to be their first choice of attack. Another guy that I called out last night was Jordan Ayew. I was asking the question why the coach persists with playing him. And I think it was Pepe Paul who said that it's because he's the most hardworking of the forwards, so he does the dirty work up front. But otherwise than that, he doesn't really affect the game much. But today, he scored a goal, and all well ends well. And if you ask me, on the balance of play, both teams deserve a point from this game. And you take it from here, and let's see how they go on. The final game of this match day, as in for today, we saw Arsenal taking on West Ham. West Ham was taking a hit in form, and it have you to scratching their head right now that they have beaten the big teams, right? People say Arsenal are a big team right now, so they beat a team that is mid table. So yeah, I mean a team that is mid table beat them. But when you look at West Ham now, they have suffered a lot of injuries, right? You look at the central defenders. Agbana went down, right? And since then, it doesn't seem the same. Ben Johnson went down. Aaron Creswell. So they're suffering a lot of injuries around there. But I am one that I have to give props where it's deserved. And on the balance of play, Arsenal deserved this victory. They took away the captaincy from Aubameyang. They gave it to Lacazette, and he played okay. From the other day, this former Real Madrid player Martin Odegaard has finally found some form in the Premier League. Initially, people were saying that he was too small for the Premier League and all of that, and he's a guy that burst through early, went to the wrong club, and from he went to that club, it seems like he made a wrong move, but he went to Real Sociedad and kind of reignited his career, getting an upward trajectory. Arsenal shelved out the money on him that Real Madrid asked for, and he has been playing well. But the guy for Arsenal this season, if you look at it, whenever he plays, Arsenal tends to do well, and that is Emile Smith Rowe. This guy has taken to life as the number 10 for Arsenal really well. At the beginning of the season, he wasn't hitting any strides or anything like that, but ever since, I tell you, it seems like these people actually watch the show, because Kings call him out, the man has found some form, and the form that he has found led to him getting a call up for the English national team. And hats off to him, scored today again. I was just saying that Martin led man of the match. I'm not going to repeat. I'm not going to say the last part, brother. But here's Michelle too saying that I think Chelsea should take Antonio just not scoring since he come back to England on the private jet. Um, yeah, Antonio has gone off the boil. He started the season but since then, yes, it has snug. And you have to really ask the question that could it be a case that he was affected on international duty, or is just a patch for strikers? Because we know strikers generally they go through a bad patch at times, right? We know that for a fact. And probably this is just the time for Antonio to just sit back and have his coach talk to him and say, boss man, this was what you were doing, this is what I need to step up with, and try to get back in the mode of scoring. Because it's not a case that he's playing bad enough. He's been getting in positions and his other players been decent, but it's not just Antonio who has gone off the ball. Even Saeed Benrahma, who started off the season good, right, has also fallen off. Again, I keep on saying these are players that sometimes players face a downturn in form, and sometimes you can't write off players saying they're not good. Because sometimes all they need is just a moment of brilliance to actually just put them back in that frame of mind to say, hey, this is what you are doing, this is what I was doing, and they just take off once again. But yes, Jana is saying that West Ham has not beaten Arsenal at Emirates in 10 of 11 visits there since 2015. History help play ball to if we follow the trend, football gods. Okay. So you're saying that out of the last 11 visits, Arsenal has gotten a result out of it 10 times. Here's also Owen Green saying that one time today he was actually a right back when the 88th minute him go up front. Yeah, man, I remember when Kufa got the red card and that affected West Ham, but West Ham has been up and down right throughout this season. They hit some highs when they beat Liverpool and they also beat Chelsea. They beat Man United in the cup. They beat Man City in the cup. So they have hit some highs and they have also hit some lows this season. Because I mean, if we're being frank, Arsenal have been playing decent, but West Ham could have beaten them. They really could have, and it's just a tricky situation for them. Now, if you guys in the comment section has any question for me, you can go ahead and ask your questions, man, because I'll respond to as much of them as I possibly can. Here's also Wayne Green once again saying that Arsenal will go right back down by weekend. Enjoy the foot spot for a few hours. I know Wayne Green is a United fan, so I can understand why he's saying that. Um, we previewed the games for tomorrow already, but I'm going to touch on them a bit because I read about the Leicester against Tottenham game earlier on today, and it's saying that Leicester are without any centre back whatsoever tomorrow. However, the Premier League is basically going to force them to play because Tottenham has too much games that outstanding and all of that. So again, this is another game, another club that are being severely impacted by COVID. How much times I'm going to say that for this show? It's just that I'm here thinking, would it be a carelessness on the part of the players, or it's just an overall thing right now? Because it's not just if we look at it, it's not just in England that this is happening. It's happening right across Europe. So keep your asking the question: what is the scenario with these players and these clubs? What are they doing to try to prevent these things from happening? Because remember that we have an important schedule coming up. Guys, if you look at what the next week or so, they have like 3 games in 8 days, these major clubs. So if you look at it from that standpoint, boy, they really need to step it up and try to let these players avoid catching this because it is the club that is going to be impacted the most, right? So they need to do something about this. Here's Robbie saying that Leicester will beat Tottenham. Robbie, after all I just said, you really think that Leicester still has the firepower to beat Tottenham, or do you think that Tottenham are just not good enough right now? Yes, we know that their coach has come out and said that the team right now is just not good and all of that. But when look at these things, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. No matter how he want to spin it and say that they aren't good enough, we know the quality of this team, right? In terms of they have players and world beaters that can step up on any given day. Young Min Son, Harry Kane, who has been out of sorts this season. Boy, it's just tough when I look at it from all standpoint. But you guys can leave any comments that you want to me to answer to because I'm on hand to answer whatever questions you have. So yeah, it's not your time, man. Just go ahead and ask any question. I'm on hand to answer all of them, right? So just go ahead. Um, Another thing that I want to look at, I'm going to step away from football for a minute, right? Just going to step away from it a minute and then look at some things that has been taking place in and around the world. I know that a lot of you guys probably don't follow Formula One, and I hope that Shakes was an hand to be here. So I hope Shakes is actually watching so he can come on and have a debate about it because his boy Max Verstappen actually won the Formula One title on the weekend. Lewis Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton actually finished second, and it was a hell of a drive between both drivers to the back end of that race. And congrats to Max. He was a better driver throughout the season, and he deserved it. But yes, Ernda Connor asking, do you believe Ronaldo and Messi not top 10 players anymore? And he's saying that some journalist says that. To be frank, ah, tricky. But based on what we have seen this season, I wouldn't say any of them are top 10 anymore. Just have to be real. Yes, they have been great over the season, but this season, based on what we have seen, I wouldn't say that, especially Messi. Why? Messi hasn't really performed in League One. And if you look at League One, it's probably one of the weakest competition in Europe. In terms of league, it's probably one of the weakest league in Europe. In terms of the top countries. But in Europe now, that's where he has been performing in the Champions League. He has done well, but it's hard to really judge it because again, some people are quick to write off people even if they just try to adapt to a league. But people might say that Messi, because of who he is, should have easily taken to life in League One. But he himself said that he has been struggling with the cold weather, the snow, and all of that. So yeah, I guess that's his issue. See our next question here from Adrian Nicholson asking that when City are going to win the Champions League. Um, Adrian, to answer the question, I'm going to answer it in a sarcastic manner because that's a sarcastic question because I definitely don't have the answer to that. But to be honest, they have had opportunities to win this, but because of mental, I think it's more the humph they need to get over it in terms of we have seen where Pep overthink his decisions in the big games. For instance, I think it was last season where he needed to start a particular player, never started them. So that's the issue with him. He overthinks when it matters most. You can get the best of people leading up to it, but they say at that make it or break it moment, that is where his team, the City team, tend to flounder a lot. So that's the issue with it, right? But boy, in terms of when they'll win it, I have no clue, boss, because he says that he's leaving what 2020 at the end of 2023. But who knows? Because he and the owners of City, well, not the owners, the execs at City are close, so probably they'll convince him to stay on. But who knows? Time will tell. See, next question here from Owen Green. Owen Green asking that level. I want to think of this question this one day, team. All right, so Owen, we actually discussed it on a cricket podcast probably a couple of weeks back in about. I'm going to answer the questions because I said just keep the questions coming, guys, because I'm going to answer to all of them. Um, in terms of the team, they could have done better with the selections. However, I can see that they're trying to do a rebuild, just like with the T20 team, right? So I am willing to wait and see what they're up to in terms of what they're trying to get to, because some of these players are young, while some of them are, can say, young in terms of their international career. But I am willing to give them an opportunity to see where they go, because what sense does it make you keep on trying with the same elder statesman over and over and over without any sort of result? You don't see any growth or anything like that. So you just have to give them an opportunity and see if these youths will actually grasp it. But in terms of the selection, I've always had a problem with West Indies selection panel over the years. Again, they select based on favoritism, based on countries and all of that. But for me personally, it's just about giving the youths a chance, see how they actually play, see how they might lose games, but see how they take the game in phases. or they play by phases, because that's what you have to do, you know. You have to wait and see in scenarios how they actually deal with things. For instance, let's say the team lose the top order quickly. Let's see if the middle order can help them to recover from that slump. All right. Let's say a team get off to a rollicking start, right? And if they get off to a start that you need players or bowlers that can come in and actually cut down the scoring rate and see how they can try to price out wickets and all that. Personally, for me, I don't like seeing defensive bowlers. Sometimes, yes, it's good to restrict bowlers because if you look at it, bowler 10 over and concede 40 runs or anything under 40, that's impressive in one day cricket. But I also want to see something in that wicket column. I really want to see something in that wicket column, and that's just my personal take on it, right? In terms of the feeling now, I want to see improvements in that. Yes, we have players here and there that are good in the field, but keep on saying it. Everything has to go in phases, and this is what I really want to see. Um, Responding again, you're saying that they might try, but still not the perfect selection. We need quality fast bowlers. But that is what we lack on. We have to really look at it keenly, right? What better can they do? Otherwise, some Jaden Seals that yeah, he's one of the youngest in the team right now, and he's one of the brightest prospects. You look around, you have Odin Smith, arguably the fastest bowler in the Caribbean right now. That guy is rapid, right? You look at O'Shane Thomas, fast and foolish. That man just seemed kind to work on his control. You also have Alzar Joseph. He's another one that looks at decent. Was decent in one day. I think he's decent in one day. I have to give him that. While I some that in Test cricket, not it. There's a youth coming through. His name is Niall Smith. I think he's decent. But in terms of having a great crop of youngsters coming up, there's not much of it. And well, we just have to wait and see if they'll actually find anybody that pop up through, because West Indies cricket has been on the dawn for a long, long, long while. Here's Michelle saying that I'm willing to accept fighting defeats from the West Indies if they are going with youngsters for development or building. That is exactly what I'm getting at. I want to see them do that, and if they can actually do that, then yes, we could accept it. But guys, we're going to have a short podcast tonight, and this is what I'm going to call it a night on the show. Thanks to all of you that has tuned in, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be here, but there'll be a cricket podcast tomorrow, so hopefully you guys will be there. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. Until tomorrow, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your night.